Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Deblair Tate. Deblair began fitness competitions in 2006, and by 2007, she had won first place overall. She won many titles and went on to be Miss Georgia Fitness 2 years in a row. She spends hours in the gym, eats only the healthiest of foods, and stays away from drugs and alcohol. After almost 15 years in the game, Deblair has created a lane for herself as a celebrity trainer and coach. She's also a nutritionist and first sergeant and instructor in the U.S. Air Force, an active member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., and vice president of My Motorcycle Club, LaFemme TTG, MC. And it was time for her to branch out and embark on a new journey in the world of health and fitness, creating the fitness apparel brand 8FIGURED. All right, welcome to the show, Deblair.
Thank you for having me.
Get that? Yes. So the way this show is based on my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this year we have been hit with just about every situation imaginable.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'd like to start maybe with a situation in your life that you had to overcome either in your personal life or one of your businesses, and how you got back on track.
So just like with everything else, even just like with the COVID situation, with my business itself, it affected a lot because, of course, I have a clothing brand, and that's the last thing that's going to be a priority when people are struggling to figure out, if they're going to have food on their table, if they're going to have a job. Even with the personal training, I can go all the way back to that. It's the last thing that people are thinking about when it comes to necessities, which it should be a necessity. I always preach that people don't, look at themselves as a necessity, but as it relates to just the way your life is set up, if it comes down to it, it's going to be the first thing that people X out. So it affects the business, especially around the holidays, because people are more so prone to just kind of like, for some reason, always around this time, people kind of struggle and things. And even with the business, it struggles as well. So I've been affected a lot, especially in this business as it relates, because it's not always, looked at as a necessity, and things go wrong and things go bad. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so one of the things that I've found is that for personal training, if you work with the right person, it really helps. And if you just want a quick fix, that's not going to work at all.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Like, I'm going to go lift 1,000,000 weights today, and tomorrow, boom, I'm going to be in shape. And that never happens.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
Yes, it
doesn't work like that.
Yes. And it's kind of like this consistency over everything else, is just staying consistent. With everything. So do you have any tips for people as we're going into the holiday season? What happens every year that I've noticed is everybody just does whatever they want. They kind of stop doing the gym stuff. Well, some of us might have to because of the COVID, but they stop exercising at home too. And they do all the holiday meals. And then New Year's Eve happens. And they're like, okay, now I'm going to get into shape. Now I'm going to think about this again. So do you have any tips for ways to get through the holiday season and enjoy a little bit without struggling and then having to pay the price and make up for it for 2 months, January and February?
Absolutely. What I preach is one thing is that you need to make this health and fitness journey a lifestyle. And with it becoming a lifestyle, that means the 4th of July, the Christmas, the Thanksgivings, all that can relate to it, because people feel that, during that time, they're not able to do what they want to do. But you actually can eat whatever you want to eat as long as you are doing things in moderation. Now, if all year you've been pretty much having Thanksgiving and having Christmas, of course, it's really going to affect you. But even now, I'm doing a challenge. Currently, it's like the 10 days before Thanksgiving challenge. And it's a way for people, even if you haven't been on a fitness journey, it's a way for you to kind of jumpstart and say, hey, for the 10 days leading up to Thanksgiving, I'm going to be very consistent and clean. And it's just a reality check to let you know that, you know, you can do anything that you want to do, even if it's like birthdays, vacations, things like that. People think that they can enjoy that type of stuff, but it's all about, I don't believe in dieting. I don't believe in like anything that's not going to be what you do on a normal basis, you know, just cleaning up your diet or whatever. But the tips I have for people is to stop thinking about it as a chore. You know, think about it as an actual lifestyle change, because we all too many times wait until our bodies tell us that something is going on for you to change, or the doctor's telling you, hey, you're borderline diabetic, or this is going on, you have high cholesterol, you know, you're going to be on medicine if you don't pay attention. And that's when you want to pay attention, when you can just kind of like educate yourself, put yourself first for once, you know, and look into what it looks like to maintain a healthy, clean diet and still enjoy some of those foods that you enjoy, because that's the myth. People think they can't enjoy everything they want to, but you can, as long as everything is done in moderation.
Yes, yes. And so, like, you don't do drugs, you don't drink, you mentioned in your bio, and that's wonderful. I don't either. And that's something that's, when you go out socially, everybody's like, hey, have something to have, some wine, have a little da 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 da. And it's one of the hardest things. I mean, I'm kind of blessed with, I really can't. And so for health reasons, I can't. So it's good for me in that way. I saved probably thousands. Maybe I would have been an alcoholic if it wasn't for that wonderful health situation that's like, no, I can't have that. And so it's been a gift that way. But what do you do? There's a lot of people that are really trying to either moderate or really cut back or stop drinking altogether. What is the best suggestion you have for that?
I think they just, first of all, need to kind of like look at overall what they're doing. So how much are you drinking? You have to start off with seeing what you're doing. And if you're a heavy drinker, like if you're somebody that comes home from work and it may just be a social thing, when you get off, you want to kick your feet back and you want to have 2 or 3 glasses of wine, because typically if you're drinking sweet wine, that bottle is going to be gone. But just kind of like, you have to be intentional with what you want to do. So if you know you're drinking every single day, just like a casual glass of wine, hey, take it back to a couple of days. Say, okay, maybe I'm only going to drink 3 days a week, you know, or maybe I'm only going to drink 2 days until it gets to the point where it's only like maybe on the weekends. I'm not saying that you don't have, like, you have to just cut that stuff off, but if you're doing it consistently, those are just empty calories. Especially if you have any type of goals or anything you're trying to attain, you have to make some sacrifices. And some of those sacrifices may look like, maybe when you come home, instead of a glass of wine, you may need to have some water, or, you know, just substitute it for something else, or go to the gym in that place if you feel like you just have to be doing something. So it's all about just looking at what you're doing, coming up with some type of goals, and just make it attainable, and make sure that you're intentional with it and it's something that you want to do, not just something you're telling yourself.
Yes, that's a really good suggestion. And alcohol mostly has so much sugar. That's why I have to stay far away from it. My sugars are perfect, but my family has sugar issues, so I'm prone to it. So I've always just stayed way away from all sugars, and that's really helped me out. I mean, like, I have no sugar in my life, which is hard, but because of that. And
I understand.
That happens. I'd love to hear maybe about an example of a typical day with all your training and eating and all that. Like, what does that look like?
So it's like second nature for me at this point.
Yes.
So usually when I was like hardcore into, I'll tell you, it's more interesting when I'm doing competitions. I'm not competing right now, but when I'm doing competitions, it's all about preparation. Everything is a job, because you have to go to the grocery store, make sure you're getting the right food, make sure you're prepping, make sure you have it ready for the next day. Because even when I was training full time, I still did other things. I always had multiple like businesses and jobs that I was actually doing. So it's all about prepping the night before, wake up in the morning, you know, breakfast is mandatory. Like, you can't skip breakfast. Once you skip breakfast, everything else is just like totally off track. So, you know, you wake up and everything is already prepped the night before. That's the biggest thing. It's like when you don't prep, you know, your whole day is going to be thrown off. So, you know, with that being said, it's not as hard to eat once you know you have your meals. My meals are already in the refrigerator. So all you have to do is just kind of fit it in between your scheduling. You pretty much have to be intentional with making sure you're not procrastinating with your schedule. Your clients are not late to put you behind. If they are, you need to make sure you're making the time to eat. So let's talk about a day you didn't prep, okay? Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to Subway to get something to eat. The first thing you're going to say is, oh, bring me something back. But that's not on your agenda, especially most fast food places. Even if it says it's healthy, there's some additives in it that you probably shouldn't be eating because they want to make it good for you, like good as far as the taste. So they're going to add all the good salt seasonings and all the butters or whatever to make it good. Just because it says turkey sandwich doesn't mean that it's a healthy choice. So it's all about preparation and making sure you're not procrastinating throughout your day so you can actually maintain a good work environment and make sure you're eating at the same time, on time, and on schedule. And it's tough if you're not used to it. I will say that. Mm-hmm. If you're not used to it, for the average person, it's tough. For the average person, if they're not used to eating multiple times a day, it's tough because when you're busy, the last thing you want to think about is having food and having to think about where to get it from if you didn't plan prep it in advance.
Yes. And how about exercise? How many hours of exercise do you do when you're in a competition and when you're not prepping for a competition?
Oh my God. I spend my life in the gym when I'm prepping for a competition. So typically you train, just like weight training or whatever, you do your cardio. You're always there. It just depends on what you have going on. I can spend, 3 to 5 hours a day in the gym easily, because you go with my schedule. I was going in the morning, maybe like at 5 o'clock in the morning, stretching, working out, hour and a half or whatever, may have to go to work or train, do whatever, and then come back later on maybe to do my cardio or any type of calisthenics. So 2 a day is typically based on where your body is, because it takes about 12 to 16 weeks for your body to get where it needs to be based on where you start from. So it's a whole little formula. So I can spend hours in the gym, but when I'm training clients, I work out with them sometimes too. So sometimes I'm working out 3, 4, 5 times a day because you have to be that motivation for that client. And that's why I try to create my brand to kind of like ease myself out of that, because the older you get, the harder it is to kind of maintain that, or the harder it is to want to maintain that. You can probably for yourself know that you want a more laid back life. You don't want to always be ripping and running, having somewhere to go, having somewhere to be, or always having to be on the go. So it gets to a point where you want to get in that retirement phase of your life. So that's where I'm heading right now. So.
Okay. And so even in your retirement phase, I'm sure you're going to be doing a few hours a day at the gym just because of the habit.
Retirement phase doesn't mean I'm not going to be working out. Retirement phase for me is that I'm going to no longer personally train clients in the gym. So I still do coaching. So I do virtual stuff like one-on-one coaching or whatever. And I still do like nutritionist stuff. I'm still very active. It's just the physical part that I'm no longer actually going there, being there in the presence and actually working out with the client.
Yes. And you have the 8FIGURED brand. I'd love to hear more about the apparel brand.
Yes, I created the 8FIGURED brand. I wanted to kind of like when I was telling you, I wanted to more so focus on family and things like that. So I was looking for a way to stay in the fitness world, have a strong impact and make it mean something. So I'll just tell you where I got the name from. So being in the fitness world for so long, being a trainer, you come in contact with so many different people, so many different personalities. And sometimes those people become very, very personal friends and they trust you. And I notice a lot of people suffer with like self-esteem issues and mental issues that sometimes cause them to feel like no matter what they do, they don't love themselves. They don't love the way their body looks. They don't love the way God created them. So I wanted to create the 8FIGURED brand as a representation of self-love, self-worth, letting people know that you are who you are and just engineer the body you have. Don't look at social media and look for that social acceptance and just kind of like have that strong, resilient mental mentality. So when you put my clothes on, you know that like you look good regardless. Like nobody else has to tell you. So that's the foundation behind it. And it's going to be a brand that it's not just going to be about clothing, because I'm working on a lot of different things. So 8Figure would just kind of be a household name with multiple entities.
Beautiful. I love that. And that's so important. I remember talking to a friend a long time ago that I love her dearly. We're good friends. She actually helped me on a speaking tour, and she was trying to lose weight. And I said, well, what are you doing? Do you go to the gym? And she says, no, because I don't look good enough to go to the gym. And I was like, wait.
I mean, you think it's so real. It's so real. You see people and they look amazing. People would just die to just, and they just look at somebody else. They compare themselves to other people, or they'll be like, okay, no, I'll go to the gym once I lose this amount of weight. And I'm like, that is so weird that you're saying it. That's what the gym is for. People are thinking that they're going to the gym being judged, and maybe something happened. So I don't really like look at a person like they're crazy. I'll just say, like, tell me your story. Like, why do you feel that way? You know, because you have to be able to relate to a person and understand. Because for me, I may think like, oh, that's totally berserk. Like, why do you feel like that? That is the type of attitude that keeps them away, you know? So you just have to really ask that question, like, why do you feel that way? Let's talk about it.
Yes, I literally went to the gym with her as a shadow for like a week. And I was a member at that time. I was really working out and stuff. And so I would go to like 3 or 4 different gyms, depending on where I was. The yoga studio, the gym, the dance, this Pilates studio. And I got her these free passes, and I was like, you're going to come with me. And she wanted to. And as long as she wasn't alone that first week, she was okay. Right. And then she made friends. She got to know people and realized that nobody's judging her like she thought. It was in her mind. And she's still going to the gym now.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes all you need is an accountability partner.
Yes.
You know, somebody that just, because you may be uncomfortable because maybe you don't know how to work the equipment right, and you may think you look, you know, a little crazy. It could be multiple things. You know, some people are in there and they've been in there for a while and their body looks good and they're walking around and with confidence, and you are kind of timid and shy because you're unfamiliar with, you know, the machines and just what to do, you know? So if you have that person with you, it's a little more comforting knowing that, okay, I have somebody with me and we can kind of figure it out together. So
yes. So I would love to hear a little bit more about how people can connect with you. Maybe are you still offering the personal virtual training?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm still very, very accessible because I'm in it now to pretty much change lives. So that's why I'm more on the coaching side, you know, and the physical training portion was just a small portion. And now I've expanded to more of the mental side of the house, the nutritionist side of the house, and the more so just kind of getting you ready, total mind, body, and spirit, to make it a lifestyle change versus just something you're doing, coming to the gym, working out. So my social media is at Deblair Fitness, and on my social media page, you'll see that I offer challenges. I offer on Thursdays, I do what you call a Trapping on Thursday, which is just a free workout because a lot of people don't have that access to a trainer. So I'm giving you an opportunity to just kind of do some training, some coaching, and I do a question and answer session after that. I also have a website that I post like multiple different facts about health, fitness, whatever, and you actually can email me any type of question that you want. That website is www.deblairfitness.com. So there are many ways that you can reach out to me directly, and I answer all of the messages that people send to me. So that's how you can contact me.
All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. I am going to join your challenge. So everybody listening in, let's join the challenge together, and we'll be ready by New Year's.
Yes. Actually, my challenge just ended on the 5th. And the challenge that I'm doing now, if you go look on my Instagram page at Deblair Fitness, it's just the 10 days before Thanksgiving challenge. I also do the 12 days before Christmas challenge. So it's a lot of things that you can kind of like, you know, grab an accountability partner, you know, do it with your family or whatever and participate in, because starting at the beginning of the year, like you said, most people are ready to make big changes. Yeah. And my goal is for anybody that starts in January is to see it all the way through the year and don't just fall off in February or March when things start looking back normal. So
Yes, yes, that's wonderful. All right, so we will be back after these messages, and stay tuned. Don't forget to join the challenge. All right, stay tuned.